All right, here we go. Let's see what we can do here. Hopefully, you can hear me loud enough. If not, I don't know what to tell you, but we're looking at changing. We want slope intercept form. Um, we have y equals mx plus b, where we're going to look for this. We need these numbers here, y and the x. So that's our slope, and that's our y-intercept, and we're going to get into that later. Actually, tomorrow, hopefully, we will start changing from standard form to slope intercept form, and then we'll start talking a little bit more about why we do that and what we're looking for when we do that. All right, so in order to do this, we're going to use point slope form. But first, we need to find the difference in the y's over, or divided by the difference in the x's to get our slope. So what we're looking at there is, I need to grab my markers. We're looking at our y's first, and those are our y's, are the second ones, and they're on top. So we keep the first one, and we change the second one. And then we look at our x's, we keep it, and we change it. And if you notice the second one, we got 5 and 0, we got -0, -5, and I know there's no such thing as -0, but that's okay. We're just doing that for the simple fact is that get you into a rhythm. And the first one is 4 and 0, and they remain the same. So our first dot is going to stay the same when we put it in there. There's no negative in front. That's why we do that. Then we have this minus or negative in front. That means that we're going to do the opposite of those two. You have to remember that. Still having some of you that still have an issue with getting that completed appropriately and putting the right one in. I just have some of you changing this and leaving this. So leave, change, it comes from that. You can use that same mentality as when you're doing integers. That leave, change, opposite thing when you're subtracting integers, okay? Here we go. So 4 minus 0 is 4, and 0 minus 5 is -5. And of course, I want your negative at the top. All right, don't leave it at the bottom. Not going to work. Here's point slope form. Y minus y, the first point, equals slope times the value of x minus x1. And we're going to pick a point. We'll just pick the first point since it says 1. It's kind of a nice thing to do to remind you of what you need to do. So 4, opposite of. See the negative right there? That negative is opposite of the y. So opposite of 4 is -4. So y minus 4. Leave your slope as it sits. Your x stays there, and the opposite of your x. I don't care. You can put -0 there. Just keep yourself in rhythm. You can put +0, believe it or not. It doesn't really matter. All right. But that's the only number you can do that with because 0 doesn't have a positive or negative value. We're going to distribute. It's the first step. -4/5 times x is -4/5 x. -4/5 times 0 is just 0. If you want to leave that as -0, that would be fine too, but it's habit for me to turn it to a +0. All right. Next step, and the final step, we distribute, and then we're going to do this part. That's the only ones that you need to do, and that is a 4. So since it's -4, we're going to +4 or add 4 to both sides of the equations at the like terms. So opposite operations are gone. We're with y there, and -4/5 times x. And 0 plus 4 is +4. And there is our answer on that. And that is in slope intercept form. You can see these two. We have the slope, which is the -4/5. We would rise over run, so we would go down 4 spaces and right 5. And then our y-intercept is our 4. That's where our dot will cross the y-axis of our graph, and we'll get more into that. All right, once again, differences in y's over the differences in x's is our slope. These are our y's, so we're going to leave the first one, change the second. It was a +4, we left it positive, we changed it to negative. 0 and -5, so we're going to leave the 0, and we're going to change -5 to a +5. 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. Therefore, our slope is 0. Automatically, we can stop right there. You can put this into the equation, and you will come out with what you need. But at this point, you can stop because the y's are the same, so therefore y equals 4. Now I'm going to put it in the formula just in case you do it. Now you can put 0 into the formula and work it. You cannot put undefined in there and do it because undefined is x equals whatever the x numbers are. So when you have the same y's, it's y equals 4. When you have the same x's, it's x equals that number. Just for a reminder. So just so you can get a little more practice of seeing point slope formula, I'm going to go ahead and enter all that information in for you. So we have y, the opposite of y. So we'll take this point. The opposite of y is minus 4 equals the slope, which is 0, x minus, and then opposite of x is 0. Yeah, that's fine. Well, 0 times anything is just 0. So y minus 4 equals 0. That's 0. That's 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. And then you simply just add 4 to both sides of the equation. Opposite operations are gone. 0 plus 4 is 4. And that's where that 4 comes from. Same thing. If you decided to do that. I did it quickly because we really don't need to go over it that much. All right, number 3. Differences in y's over the differences in x. Our y's. So we have 4 we keep, and we do the opposite of 0. That's fine. 5 we keep, and the opposite of 0 for our x's. Pretty easy. 4 minus 0 is 4. 5 minus 0 is 5. Our slope is 4/5. We're going to look at y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Once again, opposite of y. So we'll take our first point. It has to be a point. It can be this point if it wants to be, but it can't be anything here. So the opposite of 4 is negative 4. Our slope is 4/5 x, and the opposite of the x value, which is negative 5. Both of them were positive, both of them are negative now. Okay? It's the opposite of it. You could have put this one in too. You could have put 0 here and 0 here. It might have been easier, but we kind of started on a flow, and I think we just remain on that flow. I'm afraid if I change it, people might start getting confused. So some of you won't because you're really good at this. Some of you who struggle with it are going to find it difficult if I start changing things. So 4/5 times 1 is 4/5, and we put the x on it. That's all. Don't even need to put that in your calculator. This is easy because our 5's cancel out, but then we only have 4 times negative 1, so it's negative 4. If you do 4/5 times negative 5, you're going to get negative 4. Go to that final and last step. We're going to add 4 to both sides. You have to add it to that side. Opposite operations are gone. 4/5 x and negative 4 plus 4, they're opposite operations too. They're gone. You can leave it like this. If you're going to graph it, you're going to want to put the plus 0 on it because the y-intercept is 0. You put your dot at the origin or the 0 spot for both for y, and then you would rise 4 spaces and then run 5 spaces and put another dot, and then you can do it in reverse. And we got 3 dots and we go. Most graphs we're going to be able to do 3 dots. That's what I prefer. Some people only prefer 2, but when we start getting into systems of equations, you're going to have to find out where they intersect. It's best that you have 3 dots on there. It's easier to find where they intersect. So here we go, the differences in y over the differences in x. There's our y's. Keep it. Now, note, I didn't change it. It's negative 1. I put negative 1 down. This one I'm changing. It's positive 1. I'm putting negative 1, or negative 1 minus 1. Okay? Now look at the x. I'm leaving it the same. These two stay the same. These two change. That is going to be plus 4. Negative 1 minus 1. Put it in your calculator. I hear people going, 0, Mr. Top. No, it's not. It is negative 2. Put it in your calculator. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. I can show you why it is what it is. That won't reduce. But we'll do that another time. I'm not going to be teaching during this class. I can pull you aside. I can get you at study hall. We can do a special time after school, wherever we need to work on some of the skills that you don't have that you should have learned in 7th and 8th grade and 6th grade. But at this point, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. But I will be more than happy to teach you those skills that you need and get you some papers and programs and whatever you need to get that accomplished. Point slope form, y minus y1 with slope times x minus x1. And why am I writing this out every time instead of having it ready for you? Because I want you to see it. I want you to hear me say it so that you learn it and memorize it and know it. It's going to help every time we do that, reinforce you knowing it. So I'm going to go after the first point again just because it says 1 on the bottom. It's a nice little reference, doesn't matter. Just change it. Plus 1. Our slope, negative 2 over 3. X. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. Sorry, that was plus 1. Now that's the X. So go make sure you do a Y and then X. So we're going to distribute. Negative 2/3 times X, negative 2/3 X. And then negative 2/3 times 1 is negative 2/3. And you can, as you can guess, this one's going to turn out to be a fraction. I'll do the best in my head on these fractions, which I should be able to. We're going to subtract 1. And I'm going to work this one out in negative 2/3 X. And then we have negative 2/3 minus 1. So we're looking at minus 1. So what I do is I take the 1 times the 3 and I get 3, and then I put the denominator the same. So negative 1 is negative 3 over 3. What did I do? I multiplied that times the denominator, got that number. So if this would have been negative 2, it would have been 2 times 3 would have been 6 over 3, negative 6 over 3. That's how I did that. So negative 2, and then we add the tops together, so or subtract them. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5, and we keep the denominator. So that's how you do that. And that's the whole one. So negative 2 over 3x minus 5/3. I guess I could check that. And yep, that's what it is. Just wanted to make sure. So here it is. You can also watch the videos from the last 3 days that we did this. All right. This seems to be one hard thing for some people to do and really easy for others. So it's a give and take on this one. What I suggest is that you get a whole, or you watch all the other videos, you watch these, you take notes, take the notes, use the notes. All you're doing is the same process. You're just changing the numbers. Okay. Same process, changing the numbers. That's all it is. Most of us look at the numbers and that's what we freak out about when we hate math. We see it's numbers, numbers is numbers. There's no difference. But the thing about math is math is all about process. I just do the same process to just change the numbers. So get used to the process of it and you'll do good. All right, have a good day.